Yo, 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 yo. What is going on, CoD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today we are going to be continuing our top 25 game-wide stats series, where we're now looking at the top 25 kingdoms that have been doing the most fighting, or essentially the most PvP merit point accumulation that they have gotten thus far. Now, bear in mind, kingdoms can be in different seasons, so that will be a factor. But the good thing is that with the way that CoD is trying to line up its seasons, more of them will be getting pushed into Season 2, which means that when we eventually get to 2+ and 3, we'll have a bigger player pool. And then hopefully the same thing happens with those that are going from 1 to 2 on the new wave. We'll have an increased number. So they did this last time, and I imagine they're going to continue doing it now with the introduction of 2+, is basically a way for kingdoms to kind of catch up so they can get to the most recent seasons, therefore having a lot more kingdoms within those groupings. All right. A few things to preface and get out of the way. Number one, this data was collected on Monday, November 13th. Number 2 or number 3, data was collected between around 20 and 22 UTC, so about a 2-hour window in-game. Number 3, keep in mind that any of the numbers you see from these alliances after you're already watching the video will already be stronger than what they are shown in the video, because remember, this is a snapshot that's captured. If you go in-game, numbers will, of course, already be stronger. Number 4 is that if you do want to go and take a look at the public version of the sheet, remember this is our master copy where I update this first, and then 24 hours after the video releases, I will port the data over to the public sheet. You can go and view that by joining the Discord. You can find a link to that in the description, pinned comment down below. You'll get prompted up to this information section. You simply just go to reaction roles, select the middle one here, Call of Dragons. It'll open up the Call of Dragons section. And then you'll go here, CoD data stats, and then you'll be able to find the top stat public version that we have here. Okay, with that in mind, let's go ahead and get this party started. Okay, working our way bottom up, and I got a surprise for you guys at the end too as well, so stay tuned for that. Here we go. Number 25, we got S256 at between 188 and 192 for those kingdoms. This is 603. Oh, and the one thing I did forget to mention as well is that we looked at the data between kingdoms 1 and 150, and we stopped there because, again, the numbers were just consistently going lower. They're at 630 million merit points. We have number 24, S2-18, 103, 105, 112, 113, 117, 118 at 813 million merit points. Number 23, S255, 182 through 187. They're at 851 million merit points. We have number 22, S2-53, 174 to 177 at 855 million merit points. S2-54, 178 through 181, 941 million merit points. Number 20, also breaking the billion threshold, billions, 104, 107, 109, 114, and 115 at 1.05 billion merit points. S2-51, which is 155 to 167. Lots of kingdoms there. 1.10 million merit points, billion merit points, excuse me. Then we have number 18, S2-17, 106, 108, 110, 111, 116 at 1.161 million merit points. Then we have potentially the star of the show, which is a Season 1 kingdom that made this list, 233. Shout out to them, making this at number 17. They're at 1.20 billion merit points, I should say. So pretty bananas there, I will say that, for a Season 1 kingdom to make this type of a list. Then we have number 16, S2-14, 14, 18, 21, 92, 95, 96, 99, 101, 1.21 billion merit points. Number 15, breaking into the top 15, S2-52, 168 through 173, 1.31 billion merit points. Number 14, S2-15, which is comprised of 12, 13, 16, 19, 20, 91, 98, 102, 2.12 billion merit points, breaking the 2 billion threshold. Number 13, S2-12, 56, 69, 78, 79, 84, 87, 2.13 billion merit points. Number 12, S2-13, 11, 15, 17, 93, 94, 97, 100 at 2.16 billion merit points. Then we get to number 11, S2-10, 60, 66, 74, 77, 85, 88, 2.35 billion merit points. Then we get to number 10, breaking into the top 10, S2-9, 42, 58, 62, 67, 80, 86, 2.7 billion merit points. Then we get to the next big mumbo jumbo, which is number 9, S2-4, comprised of 30, 35, 37, 39, 45, 48, 3 billion, 3.06 billion. merit points, breaking that 3 billion threshold. Then we get to number 8, S2-5, 40, 41, 46, 57, 61, 64, 3.07 billion merit points. Then we get to number 7, S2-2, 27, 31, 32, 43, 53, 3.14 billion merit points. Number 6, S2-11, 36, 52, 71, 83, 89, comprised of reaching 3.2 billion merit points. Then we get to our big top 5, S2-8 at number 5, 49, 63, 73, 76, 82, 90 at 3.45 billion merit points. Number 4 for the final 4, S2-7, 38, 44, 50, 65, 68, 75, 3.59 billion merit points. Then we get to number 3, S2-6, which is comprised of 54, 55, 59, 70, 72, 81, 3.7 billion merit points. Then we get to the final 2, which is S2-3, 28, 29, 33, 34, 47, 51, 4.39 billion merit points, also breaking the 4 billion merit point threshold. And then we get to the number 1 strongest, or we should say the kingdom that has been fighting the most and has accumulated the most amount of PvP points, which is S2-1. This is 1 through 10 and 22 through 26, coming at 4.81 billion merit points, almost 5 billion. So now, a couple things I want to point out. Number 1, which is obviously, like we said, shout out to 233 for making this list. On top of that, if you look at some of the other areas here, right, for top 7, when you looked at when we did this data for this one 2 months ago, this was kind of, I believe, a little bit more at the start of the season for, oh, sorry, hang on, no. This is actually S1. So this is us kind of like 2 months down the line getting in toward the end of the new, I believe this was near the end of Season 1 Plus, and then we had some home kingdoms. So because I didn't end up doing this last time for last month, that would have been nice to kind of see what the difference would have been there. Again, we'll look to keep that up here. You can clearly tell, watch, if we do kind of a sum. So let's do this, right? Let's do a sum. And then we're going to do this. 14, we'll color this in blue. Actually, let's color it in red since it's death points, essentially. We'll do a sum here. Right? Bam. We're going to pimp this out. Pew, pew, pew. And then we'll go here. Chuka, chuka. Bold. Bold that bad boy. I mean, look at this. Right? You have 17 billion, 17.7 billion. Then you have 55.1 billion here. I mean, you're pretty much looking at 3, right? I mean, that's 3 times the amount of PvP at the end of the previous season from 2 months ago versus what we have now. I mean, again, it's wild to see the amount of PvP that has been constantly going up. And I think this is a great trend when you look at the numbers here and you get to see how much PvP is happening across a month-to-month basis. Now, again, remember, this is subjective because I don't know if I say subjective. It's just maybe skewed could be the better word. It's not going to be the most accurate because of the fact that the only way to really tie it in is you'd have to go off of the kingdoms. Like all the kingdoms would basically have to be ending their seasons at the same time. That's the only way to really get the most accurate gauge. But the likelihood of that happening is probably going to be never, at least until you get more kingdoms in the game, and then we get more kingdoms that are in their kind of season 3 and beyond. Because then at that point, hopefully you have the strongest kingdoms that are already at or in the oldest seasons, right? And then that way you might be able to get a true accurate gauge, because instead of having these groups here that you see in S2 in these kingdoms, right, especially the ones here at like the top 20, you're going to end up having 200, 300, 400, 500 kingdoms that are all in the final season phase period where all of their timelines are adding up. And the hope is that, well, it doesn't really matter to me, but just statistically, if you're looking to get the most accurate data, the hope is that their timelines will line up. So that way, when we look at a top 25 list, everyone will be there in that kind of oldest season and beyond, compared to maybe seeing some people trickling in from season 1 or season 2 at that point, right? Just depending on how the seasons end up playing out. So again, I thought that was interesting. Along, if we look at kind of the new reaches, right, you can see 1.8, 4.8, right? I mean, about a 3 billion increase based on kind of top 1 to next top 1. But you can see 11 through 21, you do have, those are kind of the in-betweens, right? So no one's really there right now. I think would have to go a little bit farther back if we were going to look at some of those, at least in the previous season. with that in mind, would love to know your thoughts. Tell me what you guys think. Again, the one thing I really would love for them to do when you look at numbers like this is I think to myself, man, it'd be so cool if players could go and just view these other kingdoms without necessarily having to make accounts. I mean, sure, if you want to be able to view data and things like that, that's different. But man, it sucks that there's not a way. And this is just me from someone who purely enjoys watching a lot of PvP. That it'd be cool if there was a way like in Rock where you can go and view another kingdom, and if there's fighting going on, you can see it without having to make an account there. That to me seems like it would be awesome, especially when you see me do these lists. You might think to yourself, man, this is dope. I wish I could go and view S2-1. I wish I can go view S2-3, S2-6. There's so much PvP that's going on there. The likelihood of me tuning in on any given day is probably pretty high. And even more so if I'm doing the data at the beginning or middle of the season when the fighting is pretty much still at its peak or its climax. Or peak, we should say. So again, just a random thought. We'd love to know what you guys think on that one. Again, would love to also know, what do you guys think about this list? Anything that caught you off guard? Do you like how we're seeing kind of an upwards trend of having more and more PvP, which to me is just a good tell that the game is still very active, very engaged. The community and the player base is loving the PvP as the numbers are consistently going up. But again, this is a small sample size. So any thoughts, comments, let us know down below. That's going to do it for me as always. Until next time, I will catch you later.